Welcome to the Washington Defender Podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington, and I am here at the Roanoke Conference in Ocean Shores, Washington, and I have a special guest for me. Introduce yourselves today.
Hello, my name is Elona Kearney with Transforming Politics.
Transforming Politics. Do you have a website, or is there a way for people to get a hold of you?
We're updating our website.
Okay.
So the website is peoplebeforeparty.com.
Okay.
And it has I ran for governor earlier this year, so we're flipping things over to.
But they can kind of get a hold of you through that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Okay. So tell me a little bit about what brings you to the conference, a little bit about yourself, and just love to get to know you.
So what brings me to the conference is I'm always looking for ways to unite people, understand, like the best way to understand how you can bring unity is first you have to understand people's pain points. Mm-hmm. And one of our slogans is uniting communities and removing labels. Okay. So everyone is being stereotyped, and stereotypes, they dehumanize us and they divide us.
So two things you said, uniting
communities and removing labels.
Removing labels.
So if you remove the labels, you can unite the communities.
I see. Okay.
And so I bring the different sides together. So, for instance, I've had a couple of events where, like, we had Proud Boys and Black Lives Matter.
Wait. You just said you had Proud Boys and Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Okay, that's definitely uniting communities and removing labels. Okay, unpack that for me. Like, what was that like?
So first off, to get them to the table is you don't say Proud Boys are coming to this event or Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I fill out who are open-minded people to have a decent conversation to be the best representation of that group. Because a lot of time media is going to pick out, the horrible part of Black Lives Matter or the horrible part of the Proud Boys, when there are people who are sensible in those groups that can conversate about what the real root of the discussion needs to be.
So I'm picturing like trying to get two cats into a bathtub. That's what I'm picturing, right? But describe that. So you come in and you have like lunch or something, or what?
Yes, we did it over food because food unites.
Yeah.
And so what I brought up was the basic discussions. Like first, we talked about safety for our children in our communities. Everyone agrees on that.
So they're at circles and tables, and you're like saying, "Hey, let's talk about safety for our children."
Well, we just did it in an open because it was a small group.
Oh, small group. Okay.
I haven't gotten to big groups.
Oh no, that's fine. That's
but
fine.
Small groups. So we, like we talked about community.
Right.
Then we kept building it out because it's easier when you start small and build out.
Right.
And then we got to the topic of, I didn't bring this up. One of the Proud Boys actually brought it up and said, we agree that Black people get mistreated when police come out. We've witnessed these things and we agree. And now, mind you, they didn't know that was a Proud Boy saying this.
Right.
And they said that, we could stand with your community if it wasn't you were pointing the finger at the wrong person or attacking the wrong person because, we've experienced this when they come and done this to us. So then someone from the Black Lives Matter community said, we don't want to defund the police because we need them. In fact, we're not even the one pushing that. And so they ended up having this conversation. And then later on, then someone says, man, I wish we could do more of this, but I don't think that we'll be invited. So someone over on the other side said, why wouldn't you be invited? Right. I said, because we're Proud Boys. And it's like, we're Black Lives Matter.
Were they like shocked or what happened? I mean,
They were shocked. And in fact, it was so funny because one of the Proud Boys' wives and the other Black Lives Matter, they got pregnant at the same time and had their babies at the same time and do stuff together.
Right. That's amazing. How long ago was this?
This was 2022, July 10th, 2022 at one of my events.
Wow, that is powerful.
After that, I was told not to do that by certain of the Democrat Party groups.
Really?
Yes, they told me to not do that. They don't want that done.
So that kind of, do you want me to ask questions or do you want to leave that alone? How do you want to handle that?
You can ask questions.
Okay.
I don't care. I always say hashtag unpolitically correct because I'm not that candidate.
Okay. So they just came to you and said, don't do that anymore. And then what did you say to them? I mean, how'd that?
So I received a phone call and like I said, I was running at the time. So I received a phone call saying, we don't care what your mission is and what your platform is. We have to get the Black community to vote for Bob Ferguson. And you need to stop what you're doing. And we don't want to do that once you're doing these unity events. We don't need unity.
Right. And so that's bizarre. Like, I don't even, I'm kind of shocked by that. So they told you to stop doing the unity events, which seems, I know you know this because we actually forgot to hit record, but I'll just do it again.
Yeah.
So I was CEO of Peacemaker Ministries that does conflict resolution. I've written several books for them and that kind of thing. So it seems to me like bringing communities together so they can experience peace is a good thing, but you had people on the outside telling you not to do that.
Yes, because now they didn't tell me this part, but this was my take on it, is to push the agenda that they want, you have to have people divided. So whenever you want to pass different things, if people are divided and stereotyping each other, like I said, then people are going to be unaware of the true issue that's going on, that, hey, we can unite on community safety if we put aside this stereotype that's being divided, dividing us and whatnot. A lot of Black community would find that a lot of white community agree, like, hey, we know that you're disenfranchised, you're hurting. Let's start to do things that change the mindset of bringing unity.
Right.
And it's not really about getting free stuff.
Right, exactly.
Because, people want to build a legacy, not be generational welfare, but that buzzword to get thrown around, but no one's doing anything about it because they keep us arguing on the divided topic.
Right. I actually, when I was writing racial tension curriculum, I interviewed a lady from LA. I don't know if she was Black Lives Matter or not, but definitely that bent. I mean, she walked with them anyways. I'll say that. And it was interesting because we started kind of going through like our histories, and we did exactly what you did. We just talked about our stories, and then how do we have these conversations. And I think it's important that what you're doing is incredibly important. And I hope that you're not hesitating to move forward and bringing those things of unity together.
No, it's just trying to find the spaces, because I've kind of been blocked out. So I was told I can't use free venues that are to the public anymore. That, like libraries can change their rules specifically in each county. Yeah. So I can't do things like those at certain places, is what I've gotten emails saying. It doesn't mean all of them, but it takes a lot of work to find out who's going to let me come do a free thing, because other than that, I'm paying out of my own personal pocket. And granted, yes, I don't mind volunteering to do these things, because that's what I'm passionate about. Right. But at the same time, I still got to pay bills.
Oh, no, I get you. When we look at this movement, what do you think is the next step for Washington State in bringing about unity?
In bringing about unity is still, first off, addressing pain points. Don't, I always hear this thing saying, don't answer the premises or don't accept the premises. But I see a lot of people on both sides accepting the premises of a conversation. So that way, if they say, do you believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion? Well, what someone who is tired of the way that one side gets labeled is going to say, I believe the person who's qualified should get the job. Well, that sounds good to one side who doesn't win the vote. So to the other side that does win the vote, what it translates to saying is you think that no minority is smart enough to have a seat at the table, as opposed to what is diversity. Like, you're answering the buzz of what the tainted version that's being put out. But what is diversity? We are a melting pot in this country. Yes, we love diversity.
Oh, absolutely.
Equity. We believe in equity. If someone has a wheelchair and they can't get on the bus, we should create mechanisms to help them. Absolutely. So if a community has a mindset that they're struggling and that's all the school is feeding them, a cesspool of reminder, then we need to change what is being taught to create that. That's equity. Inclusion. Hey, don't say that, yes, we need to be including minority communities, and you don't even go talk to the minority community, find out what their pain is. You're just going to tell them, you need this and you need that. And why don't you have a hand up? That sounds good, but you don't know what the barrier is.
Exactly.
So that's what diversity, equity, and inclusion is, and that's what should be talked about and not played on, your people owe me. You did this to me. That's not diversity equity.
Because see, what you just did there is you took meritocracy and you filtered DEI through a merit-based system. I have a disabled daughter who's never walked, talked. She's wheelchair bound. She's 22 years old, and I have experienced firsthand discrimination and lack of equity. Like one time we went to this hearing for her, and they had blocked off the handicap access.
Wow.
So, I mean, I know it's minor, but I told the governor and the other people that were in the room, I'm like, what, you didn't think any disabled people are going to show up? And so they had literally with all their tables and chairs blocked it off. And I'm like, so I hear you, because you're filtering that through merit, which is really important versus, I think sometimes in our culture that we filter it through victimhood, right? So we are where we filter through. And I worked with domestic violence, women a lot as a chaplain. And I told them, I said, you can be victimized, right? That happens, but you're not a victim.
Right.
And they're like, why? I said, because at some point you got to say to that abuser, you no longer have power over me. I'm not your victim anymore. And whether that's removing yourself from a relationship or what have you, I mean, there could be a number of things that happen there. But the fact is, even your joy can't be stolen from someone else. That is between you and the Lord, and you walking that out and having that, that thing. So I'm so pleased that I've met you. I look forward to figuring out ways to help you unify what you're doing. So any closing remarks before we get off here?
Yes, just always remember that even if someone's in your face yelling at you, accusing you of something that you're not, try to listen, because if you listen past what they're saying, you'll find the issue that you can understand and relate to, and be able to relate to being more compassionate to that person and winning them over.
Right. Like for me, I'm always praying, Lord, help me to shut my mouth. Help me to calm my emotions. Because I've been called everything, right? I've been called a Christian nationalist, white supremacist. I've been called all these things. I'm not any of those things. I love Jesus and I love all people, right?
Yes.
But when you take a stand, people get upset at times. But help me to close my mouth. Help me to listen well. Like the Bible says, be slow to speak. There's a reason for that. Quick to listen, slow to anger, and
wise as a serpent, and harmless as a dove.
That's right. And I just think that it does take a lot of self-control when someone's in your face, and how do we have conversations instead of talking points? I think it's important.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thank you. I hope to interview you again sometime and get you on the show in the future. We have a digital studio as well, so we can do that through internet. But it's been a pleasure.
Great talking to you.
All right. Well, if you haven't downloaded that Washington Defender app, I want to encourage you to do that. That's at the Google Play or Apple App Store. It is our conservative movement that we begin to learn together, huddle together, and activate together. I'm Pastor Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute, and like we like to say around here, go out there and defend and advance biblical values in the public square. God bless.